The ballroom shimmered with chandeliers, laughter, and the quiet hum of arrogance that hung in the air like perfume. Men in tailored suits leaned against the marble pillars, their expensive watches catching the light, while women draped in designer gowns whispered behind jeweled hands. It was the annual Blackwood Gala, an event not just of charity, but of social climbing, where reputations were forged and the so-called elite measured their worth in brands and bank accounts. And into this glittering world walked John Kennedy. He wasn't dressed like the others. His suit, though neat and pressed, lacked the sheen of bespoke tailoring. His shoes, polished but modest, looked almost out of place among the gleaming Italian leather. He carried himself with quiet confidence, but to the eyes of the shallow, he might as well have been invisible. And when the whispers began, they were anything but subtle. "Who invited him?" sneered one man, swirling his champagne glass. "Must be someone's driver who got lost," chuckled another. "Or worse, a charity case," a woman muttered behind her diamond necklace. Job heard every word, though he didn't flinch. He moved through the crowd with calm composure, offering polite nods, receiving cold stares in return. The truth was, Job hadn't come for validation. He'd come because the gala was supporting an orphanage that desperately needed funds, and John, unlike anyone else in that room, had the power to make a real difference. But the ridicule only escalated. At the silent auction, when John placed a bid, a group of young heirs laughed out loud. "Don't bother, old man. That piece costs more than your yearly salary." Maybe he thinks monopoly money counts here. John simply smiled. He didn't retaliate, didn't boast, didn't even try to defend himself. He signed his name, calmly raising the stakes higher than anyone else dared. The smirks faltered, but the jokes kept coming. The final straw came at dinner. Seated at a long table of investors and aristocrats, John found himself cornered by their jabs. "So, John," one of them drawled, "what do you do for a living?" "Surely something humble." "I imagine he manages a gas station," another added, laughter echoing down the hall. "Or maybe a clerk at a store." The woman beside him smirked. John finally lifted his gaze. His voice was calm, even gentle. "I run a small business," he said simply. "Family work, nothing too glamorous." The table erupted with laughter, some even raising their glasses in mock toasts. To them, he was a nobody in their world of glitz and excess. But then came the moment none of them expected. As the night drew on, the host of the gala took the stage to announce the evening's top donor. The crowd hushed, expecting one of the familiar billionaire names to be called. But instead, the spotlight fell on John Kennedy. "The orphanage has just received the largest single donation in our organization's history," the host announced. "An anonymous donor has given $10 million tonight. But we are proud to reveal that this generosity came from Mr. John Kennedy." The room froze. Glances stopped midair, jaws dropped, whispers turned to stunned silence. The same man they mocked, belittled, and dismissed was not only wealthy, he was 100 times richer than all of them combined. For John Kennedy was not a gas station clerk. He was the quiet owner of a global shipping empire, a man whose net worth dwarfed their fortunes, yet who never felt the need to flaunt it. As he rose to accept the acknowledgement, he didn't gloat. He didn't remind them of their cruelty. He simply said, "True wealth isn't in what you wear, or what you show off. It's in what you give." Money means nothing if it doesn't change lives. The room, once thick with arrogance, now filled with shame. The very people who had mocked him were left speechless, their pride shattered by the humility of the man they ridiculed. Some avoided his gaze, while others bowed their heads, realizing just how hollow their laughter had been. John left the gala that night without fanfare. He didn't care for their approval, he cared for the children who would now have food, books, and a future. But the lesson he left behind lingered long after he walked out those doors. Never judge a person by appearances, because true power often wears humility, and true greatness never needs to be announced. And somewhere, in the still silence of their regret, the snobby elite realized they had mocked not just a honor but a reminder of everything they lacked: character, compassion, and the courage to give.